back by the pool, man, in Temecula. Back at the condo. Man, I love being back too because my gym here is phenomenal. Metroflex. People have seen some of those videos, but that's not the point of this video. It's an interesting week for me because this is the week 5 years ago where I was going through my withdrawal, getting off opiates, getting off fentanyl, getting off Percocet, man, those opiates, bro. How to beat withdrawals. Man, let's talk about it because I had no idea I was addicted, right? I could lie to myself, be like, I could stop, and I wasn't doing it in the day, so I was just doing it at night. Man, it had been a solid year where I was snorting fentanyl, snorting Percocets every night for hours every night. I was still working, right? I was still doing emails and pitching decks and talking to clients and doing all this stuff till 2 a.m. so I could lie to myself, be like, hey, man, I'm working. I wasn't just off doing nothing. That's the way the devil gets us to lie to ourselves, right? But let me tell you, when I made the decision to get off that, I had no idea what wanting to crawl out of your skin felt like. It started on May 31st, 2019. I realized I was out, man. I was completely out. So I was out of the little metal tube, man, that I had kind of been using, to snort stuff, man. I was taking it out with a Q-tip, man, and trying to get in the last, and then I realized, I was done. And how to beat withdrawals, to be specific, change your location. That's the first thing I tell people because, and I went to Hawaii, man. I went to the Big Island of Hawaii, so I was disconnected from everybody, and that was an important piece because of the simple piece that you don't have the connections. I'm sure you go anywhere, but truth is, man, if you don't have the connections for Percocet and opiates and stuff, guess what? Now you got to make do with nothing. So that's the first piece. It's difficult to get healthy in the same place that made you sick, in the same place where you made yourself sick. So change your location. That was the first piece that was helpful because then I just had to white knuckle it. Now, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm telling you what I did. And let's walk through what those phases were. So I was trying to get an apartment, and I really didn't have a place, so I was staying at some Airbnbs or whatever, and I stayed at this hotel one night, and I heard people downstairs at the hotel bar, and I was like, I put my clothes on, and I just depressed. I had just lost my life. I was depressed, and I was just, man, I didn't feel like, when I laid in my bed with my clothes on, jeans and everything, and I just sat there, and I'm like, oh man, I'll just sit here and, man, just wallow. And I didn't sleep a wink, not a wink. And that was my first kind of indication of what was going to go down. I didn't sleep a wink, man. And I was, okay, well, I guess this is going down. So I got up and I put my running shoes on, and I was going to go for a little jog, and it ended up being mostly a walk where I walked through the park and walked around. And, man, I was in Hawaii, so it was beautiful, but I was in hell, man. I was miserable. I was depressed. I was in my own pity party, but also I didn't understand physiologically what was going on. So I had finally arranged an apartment, and I went, and I was kind of just restless. That was the next thing. I was restless, and then I was really, really uncomfortable. My body couldn't regulate heat. I was laying down with like ice packs on my chest, and I just could not sleep. And I was like, all right, really. Then I started to feel like I was just gonna crawl out of my skin, man. Just wanted to crawl out of my fucking skin. And I just couldn't lay down, couldn't stand up, nothing. I couldn't watch, I couldn't work. Just everything was whatever. Try to lay down that next night, not a wink. So I'm up again and I'm going, man, another day of this is crawling out of my skin. I'm trying to walk around. Now things are starting. I'm a Navy SEAL, man. I've been through Hell Week and a lot of sleep deprivation, and I know kind of the phases, what was going on. So I'm going into day 3, not a wink of sleep, not a fucking fraction of a second of dozing off. I go into that third night, nothing. So now I'm moving into this next day, and I'm up and I'm starting to feel the joints swell. My perception of things are starting to kind of get a little squirrely. So that's when I took myself to the urgent care. Not the emergency room, but the urgent care. Paid some money, I talked to a doctor and I said, hey, I need some help. He's like, what are your issues, this and that? I said, hey, I have been up, and I didn't really tell him what was going on, but I said I haven't slept and yada, yada, yada. He gave me some Benadryl. They shot me up with some Benadryl, and I was like, okay, hopeful. I go home, and once again, not another wink. So now this is going on 4 days. Finally, I go back to him the next day. Now my joints are starting to swell. Now I'm starting to get some hallucinations. Things are starting to feel very uncomfortable. And I still the whole time feel like I'm gonna squeeze out of my skin. And you know what? I go to him again, and he says, okay. I said, dude, I need something, dude. Just give me anything. I was at that point. He shot me up some more Benadryl, and he gave me, what's that non-narcotic, whatever that non-narcotic kind of sleep, Ambien. So he gave me some Ambien, and I just smashed those things. And I went back, and it was that 5th day where I could little bit sleep, and I slept a little bit. And just that couple hours, I felt, a little better. And I was still going through it. I crawl out of my skin. And there's also the psychological piece, right? You've been in this habitual use. It's been like your little binky for, your little battle, for your little safe space to not deal with your emotional pain. So now I'm dealing with a lot of emotional pain. Now I'm actually having to feel a lot of things and I was going down in the sauna. There was a sauna in this place I was staying, and I was going down there in the morning and try to lift some weights, sweat it out. Man, I was sipping vodka. Don't suggest it, but I was sipping vodka in the sauna at night, just trying to sweat it out, man, drinking water and, just struggling. When you're in states like this, there's no thriving. You're surviving. You're treading water. When you paint yourselves into corners, when you're trying to fight back to get to zero, there's no growth happening, no progress, no evolution. They say no growth happens in comfort. Yeah, that's true. But in this type of discomfort, you're just fighting to get back to zero. There's a difference, right? There's a difference between pushing yourself, pushing your bounds, pushing into fear, really striving for physical growth, emotional growth, and just trying to get yourself out of some shit. There's a big fucking difference between the two. And drugs will paint you into a corner. There's no great virtue learned in drugs. No great virtue. Man, opiates they'll suck the soul out of you. They get woven into your double helixes. How do you beat withdrawals? Well, break it down. Change your location. Make a decision about who you want to be. Get honest about where you're at. Get real, focused, and clear about where you need to go. There's no fairy tale story, somebody on opiates, somebody sniffing fentanyl, somebody sniffing Percocets. So you're not riding off into the sunset, man. It's some fairy tale. It's not happening. So recognize that. You're not going to be the only one. Understand that to be reality. Then, once you white knuckle it and get past that. If you're going through that now, pound the water. Man, sweat it out if you can. Continue the healthy habits. Absolutely. Walk, sunlight. Start moving again. Start eating healthy. All the positive, high vibration things you can do. Because you're operating you're coming from a real low vibrational state. The only way to combat that is do everything in your power. That's high vibration. That's high vibrational. Man, help people if you can. Be gracious. Operate in gratitude. Move forward with love. Man, move forward with that clear vision and that clear focus and the understanding that it will get better. And the only way it's going to get better is if and when you push through and start clearing out all the karmic debt you've stacked. Because that's what withdrawals are. Yeah, call the science what it is, but it's burning off karmic debt. That's the truth. So all that pain, you've earned it. I know, because I earned it. All that pain you're feeling, you've earned it. So own it, weather the storm, and when you come out, okay, redirect the sails, use the wind, and start sailing to that port of paradise. Be smart out here.